I was just saying, okay, we've been set off live. We are live, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Arsenal 101 Premier League review show, joined by my esteemed colleague, Andy. How you doing, Andy?
Hey, did TC? I'm all right.
Yeah. Looks like it's just the two of us today. I don't know if anyone else will join us a little bit later. Oh, here we go. There's Neil. So three of us. Yay. Arsenal, Liverpool, and Spurs. How you doing, Neil? Get your sound on. You're on mute. You're on mute. There we go.
Yeah,
Love it.
you know, I've got my earpiece in, right? But I've got the little USB in my other laptop, so I've got quickly. I'm here. I'm with you. Give me one second.
No worries. No worries. So how's your week been, Andy?
Well, obviously lost to Chelsea Wednesday night. Weren't great, but yeah. I mean, to be honest, expected it. We clearly prioritised the league match against you, and basically played weakened teams against Chelsea. And now you're trying to get the game postponed Sunday. So
I doubt we will.
I can't see happening. You've only got one COVID case.
Yeah, I doubt we will. And I don't understand the rationale behind trying to.
But truth be told, I don't blame you for trying it on. I mean, like, you've got a lot of players missing, but they're missing for reasons that aren't due to a COVID outbreak. I mean, they're missing for other reasons.
Yeah.
I can't understand why you're letting Maitland Niles and Balogun go on loan when you haven't got any players.
Yeah.
You know you've got injuries. You know you've got players at AFCON. Why are you letting players go on loan this week? Why not hold them for another week or two until the league games are out of the way?
Yeah. So in answer to that question, the Balogun situation isn't so bad because we still have other strikers, and I don't think Balogun would have. I mean, he would have been on the bench against Liverpool in the cup, but he wouldn't have started, I doubt. But having Maitland Niles leave seems very strange. However, from what Apollo has indicated to me, the deal that Roma presented...
Sorry, Call K, that's not true. You've got at least 16, 17 by my calculations.
What's that? What did he say, that we haven't got enough players?
He said you've only got 12. But by my calculations, at least 16, 17. I can go through them if you want.
Yeah, we've definitely got more than 12 players.
Look at the 18 you named against Forest last Sunday.
Yeah.
Was it Berethia and Ulad
and Salah Urif? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if they were named on the bench in an FA Cup game, they could be named on the bench in a league game.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just to go back to the point about Maitland Niles, he was released because, according to Apollo, Roma structured a deal that they presented to Arsenal, but it was only going to be a deal if the deal went through in that week. And as a result, he has played 2 games for Roma. He's literally walked straight into their team and played 2 games. Now, I personally...
I've got no issue. I mean, guys, if you want to let Maitland Niles go and you want to let Balogun go and you want to have all these players at AFCON, but you knew by doing that if you then get injuries, you're going to have a problem. You've made choice that you didn't have to make. You might have chosen to make them, and that's your prerogative. But you can't then turn around and say, "Oh, sorry, we haven't got enough players to play you on Sunday." That's not reasonable.
No, you're absolutely right, Andy. I've made that point myself on our watch-alongs this week and last week. Arsenal are culpable for making horrid errors in the transfer market. Horrid, literally. I mean, as Arsenal go one way in terms of, having a great transfer window in the summer, they go the completely opposite way with the management of players like Saliba and Guendouzi and Torreira and Ozil and, you know, a plethora of players who've got disenfranchised by the club. You know, we've got the treatment of Pepe has been pretty much the most appalling treatment of a player who in 2 years has scored you, 26 goals and 18 assists or something mad like that, you know. So it is despicable. I'm not a great fan of our man management at all. I don't believe it's good. Arteta seems to fall out with players far too easily. He clearly has his favourites. And unfortunately, it leads to the detriment of the team because he ends up having to play players who he falls back on when the good players who he should be playing are left somewhere else, like Saliba in France, like Guendouzi in France, like Torreira. So all of those players, you know, with two solid midfielders right now are playing their football in another country. Guendouzi is currently ranked in the top 20 players in France. And I know there's all this talk.
But Tony, those players aren't with you. Haven't been all season.
But
that's not the issue here. The issue here is the players you've got now.
Yeah, but it's a history, Andy, and that's what I'm
yeah, but it's not COVID.
The subject of because
the reason we have squads is to deal with injuries.
Yeah, I get that.
The only reason you should get the game suspended is if you've got 8-10 COVID cases. You haven't. You've got one. Yeah. Odegaard. He's the only one.
Yeah. I mean, listen. You tried it. Liverpool tried it and succeeded. You know, it's happening. It's happening. We know clubs are trying a thing.
You're trying. You're right. You're trying it on.
Yeah, but
the FA should slap you down and say, no, you've got to play.
No, they can't.
No, but then that's the FA making
they let Liverpool do it the other day. So you can't have that double standards.
Yeah, but Liverpool were claiming 10 COVID cases. You're only claiming one. What you're claiming is you've got players at AFCON. You've known that they were going to AFCON since the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
You know, all right, you've got a load of injuries. But I can remember North London derbies where we were without Kane and Son and Vertonghen and Alderweireld, and you're still crowing when you beat us. But there's been plenty of times. I mean, even this Sunday, we've got no Son, no Romero, no Dyer, Reguilon. I mean, we've got a lot of players out as well.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it might actually suit us to get the game rearranged. We'll have a stronger side next time we play you. But the point is that
I get you.
You shouldn't be allowed to do it.
I'm not arguing with you. I'm just giving you the rationale. I'm giving you the facts. The cold, hard facts are Arsenal's board and Mikel Arteta are culpable for making poor management decisions. And they don't just stem from this week. They stem back for the beginning of the season. They stem back to last season, the season before. Yeah, so since he's walked in the door, he's made some good decisions, but he's also made some.
Tony, Kulke's making a lot of points. Can I just answer them?
Go ahead.
Yeah, right. The point I'm making is you have a squad for a reason, Kulke, and your squad, you've got a lot of injuries. That's unfortunate, but lots of teams have to deal with that. You played Leeds 3 weeks ago and won 4-1 at Ellen Road. They had 9 senior players. They requested that game to be postponed. They only had 9 senior players available. They were told they had to play that game. You won that 4-1 because Leeds were totally decimated. And they had a lot more COVID cases than you did, than you've got now. So you should be made to play this game. The Liverpool case last week was slightly different. Now, whether a few backhanders went on, I really don't know. But Liverpool declared 10 cases of COVID. Now, what it turned out was that they were false positives. What Liverpool did was they didn't use the usual testing company that they used. For some reason, on that particular day, Liverpool chose to get the testing done by a completely new company that were offering their services. And that testing company returned 10 positive cases. When they were checked the following day, it turned out that they were false positives. Now, what you've got to ask yourself is, why did Liverpool choose to use a company to do the testing that they'd never used before? And of the company that most of the Premier League clubs use was suddenly abandoned for one game. It seems very strange. And that those 10 cases meant that Liverpool got that game postponed. But then it turned out that they were all false positives. So they could have played, but the league gave them the credit because they had positive false. You can't show the league 10 positive cases, not unless they all come positive tomorrow, because at the moment they're not.
That's right.
So the point is, and just so that you know, you keep talking about 12. You have not got 11 or 12, Corky. I'll go now. You've got Ramsdale, Holding, Gabriel, White, Mari, Tierney, Sambi, Martinelli, Lacazette, Nketiah. You've got Okonkwo, Leno. You've got. I'm telling. I probably know your squad better than half the Arsenal fans.
Yeah, you're right. You're
right. You've got Berethia, Olad, Mahand. You've got enough players.
Murray, Hutchinson.
Exactly. Latino. That's another. Latino scored in the cup for you.
Yep.
So
you're right,
you can field a side on Sunday. It might not be the side that you want to field, but you can field a side on Sunday.
Absolutely. You're absolutely right, Andy. You're absolutely right. There's no doubt. I don't know where these 12 players came from because we can field 18 if we need to. We've also recalled Miguel Aziz, if you didn't know that, Cool K. So he's in the squad for Sunday. He's come back from loan deal at Portsmouth. So yeah, we ain't got a problem. We have not got a problem. Arsenal are trying a thing. And as I said, I don't
fair play to you, Tony, for
that ain't a big thing. We still got players.
Just not the players that you want to play.
We have 3 right backs at the club and none of them are properly fit. So what about Nuno Tavares?
What I'm saying is, so what?
What about
every club has
Tavares? Nuno Tavares is a right back, left back.
Oh, yeah, Tavares. He was the one I missed. Yeah.
So your point is wrong, Cool K. We have more than enough players in every position. Yeah. Neil, how you doing, brother?
I'm good, mate. I'm not even sure if you guys can hear me. Can you hear me all right?
Loud and clear.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine. I was beginning to think that my mic wasn't working on my headset. But everything's all right, man. Everything's all right.
So how was your week?
Quiet?
How was your week, mate?
Yeah, week's all right, man. I'm quiet because everybody else is talking, so I'm just giving them a chance to talk. You know, I mean, this is the Arsenal Spurs thing, and I'm a little jealous because I can't get into that. Right? If there was a United fan on here, then I could have that argy-bargy. But there isn't. So I just have to kind of stay quiet,
Neil,
let you lot argue, yeah?
So, Neil, you know that this whole argument with the people in the chat is because of your team, right? Because your team got a match back. Your team actually got a match postponed.
Listen. I get that. Listen, I get that. But the bottom line is, as much as you blame Liverpool and you want to blame Liverpool, I'm fine. I'll put my hand up to that, right? But the bottom line is, they don't make the decision. Yeah,
true.
They apply, they put the application in, right? And somebody else goes, we believe that, let's abandon the game. Yeah, that's fine. I mean, if whether they did a little thing or not, I don't know, because I'm as much as I'm a fan, and I kind of believe that they probably did, but I can't prove it either way. Yeah. That information can only come from two sources, the FA and Liverpool, and neither of them are coming up and saying, do you know what?
Yeah,
we got it wrong. Yeah,
you're absolutely right, brother. So I can't. Yeah. I know where you're coming from. I know where you're coming from. It's like all these people who say, "Oh, but the league is corrupt. This referee is getting this." Unless you can prove it, you can't say it. Yeah, and I know that we are the recipients of bad refereeing decisions. But can I turn around and say all referees are corrupt? They're all getting paid to make decisions against Arsenal. Maybe they are, but I can't prove it.
You can't prove it,
me going on and on about it. I've got a friend, Steve Jackson, who constantly tells me The league has been fixed from about 1993, and
Really?
we have somehow managed to be the exception
Since the
to the
beginning of
rule,
the Premier
because
League.
everybody else has had the title handed to them by the league. And I'm
Okay,
like, well, I can't prove that, so there's no point in me consuming that as fact.
yeah. But that means that you guys are probably the richest team then, right? Because to be able to go that long, not win it by throwing bungs, you've
Yeah.
got a lot of money, right?
Well, gentlemen, I want to get into some reviews.
Spurs must be the richest team in the world.
But you ain't won nothing, Andy. What are you talking about?
That's why they're the richest team, mate.
I mean, guys, everyone's gone robotic. I'm gonna switch
You
you off.
look fine. You look fine, buddy. Your sound is clear.
Yeah.
Your picture is clear.
Yeah, no, I'm just hearing a robot sound. I'll go and come back. All right.
No problem.
Okay. I was gonna say, and the thing is, he hasn't gone green yet.
Yeah, that's a bonus. That's what I was actually quite impressed by.
Ah, cool.
So,
Now,
Neil, let's talk about last weekend's fixtures. Last Saturday and Sunday.
Okay. I haven't even got them pulled up here. Have we got a list of them pulled up?
I haven't, but I can tell you what games we have that we can talk about. I mean, I'm trying to think what weekend it was, because technically last weekend was FA Cup weekend.
Yep.
So do we want to talk about the FA Cup weekend? Not really.
Of course you don't.
I mean, if you want to talk about your FA Cup fixture, I'm happy for you to talk about it, but it wasn't like we were playing a big game.
We had a sensational victory against Morecambe.
That was a brilliant game, man. That was a brilliant game.
Yeah, there you go. So I think we kind of have to leave last week's FA Cup fixtures because they weren't big games. And yeah, Arsenal just were terrible. Week 22. What are we talking about? The midweek games?
You're talking about, okay,
we should just say well done to Kidderminster and Boreham Wood, though.
Yeah, well done to them.
Well done.
So in the midweek games, we had
and Cambridge.
Okay, so you had the Arsenal City game, you had Watford and Spurs, you had Crystal Palace and West Ham. Those are all on the 1st of January.
No, but we've done those.
You've done those already?
Yeah, we did that at last week's review show.
No, did we?
Yeah.
So sorry, my Alzheimer's is kicking in now.
Yeah, last week. Because remember, Dave was on, the Chelsea fan.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so we've done that. We've done that set of games. So the only games really in the league that we've had since then were Southampton 4, Brentford 1, and West Ham 2, Norwich 0. We've had 2 cup semi-fixtures, which we can talk about because you and I were one of them.
Yep.
And Spurs and Chelsea were in the other. Do we want to go down that route? Andy, do you want to talk about your game first?
Yeah, well, I mean, the game really was lost at Stamford Bridge. I mean, there's no arguments to say that Chelsea weren't the better team over the 2 legs. I mean, they outplayed us for 3/4 of the 2 legs. It was the second half on Wednesday night. We played pretty, much better. But by then, Chelsea were coasting, and I guess they just sat back. You had the impression that if we had scored, say one of those penalties had been allowed and gone in, or Kane's goal hadn't been disallowed, you had the feeling that Chelsea could have stepped up another gear again if they needed to. They were playing within themselves. So no arguments. Chelsea were the better team. They deserved to win. It seemed to me by his team selection on Wednesday that Conte had already conceded defeat, because to leave Lloris on the bench and play Golini when Golini has been suspect at best so far. The guy's not had a lot of opportunities, so you would say, but cup semi-final against Chelsea, you're 2-0 down, you get an early goal, you're in the tie. It was a strange decision to leave Lloris on the bench. I can sort of understand one or two of the others because he was thinking, I think, that Arsenal on Sunday is a more important game than. I don't think he believed we were going to beat Chelsea by 3. So I think he just thought, well, I'm going to rest some players so that they're all fresh for Sunday,
So
and I
you
don't
think that
pick up
he
any
kind of
more injuries.
resigned to losing that game, so he just saved his team for the Arsenal game.
I think that's basically what Conte did on Wednesday. I don't, I mean, he still played Kane, but I mean, it's. I think that was Conte's mindset, that he doesn't. I just genuinely think that Conte doesn't think that our second string are good enough against the top boys. That if we've got our first choice 11, which we're short of without Son and Romero and Dyer and Reguilon, I just think he felt what I've got left is not going to beat Chelsea. So I might as well rest a couple, and I think that's what he did. But I don't see why you need to rest the goalkeeper myself. I don't see that the goalkeeper is a necessary player that you to rest. And Lloris being there with his experience, he is the club captain after all. It was a strange decision in a semi-final at home when you're still in the tie. 2-0 down. It's an uphill struggle, but had one of those early chances gone in, you're 1-0 up. You can get an own goal, you can get a penalty, you can get anything. We could have scored 3 the other night. We had some chances. We just didn't put them in the back of the net. But I mean, the truth is Chelsea deserve to win. So we can argue about it all we like. At the end of the day, that it was what it was, and Chelsea deserve to be in the final.
But you also remember that the Carabao Cup isn't really an important game to some of the top teams anyway, which is why a lot of them do play their second string teams.
I think Conte was sort of. I do think he was. I'm not very happy that I felt he was making a point to the board. I feel like Conte was saying, look, what I've got isn't good enough to compete. And almost like, I'm not saying he threw the tie, but almost like he wasn't disappointed that we lost the tie, that it isn't that important to him, that he wants to make it clear to the board that when we haven't got strength in depth, that everything other than the first 11 isn't really good enough. And you can't rely on 11 players in the modern game. You need a squad of 18 to 20 top-class players if you're going to be competing for Champions League.
Sometimes you've got to fall on your own sword to prove a point. Maybe that's what he did.
I think that is what he did. But it didn't go down well with a lot of Spurs fans that I know. To leave Lloris out, that was just an unnecessary decision in most people's eyes. But, we'll see. If the game does go ahead Sunday and we win, people will probably hail him as a genius.
Plus, you've also got to look at it this way, that if he played Lloris and unfortunately he got injured, you would have had your fans saying the completely opposite. Why play him in a Mickey Mouse Cup?
Yeah.
They saved him. So, I mean, he's never going to win no matter what he does anyway. If he hasn't got his full strength squad to play, he's not going to win, especially if you guys lose. The excuses will come either from the fans or from the club anyway.
Yeah. So that concludes that game. Then obviously Arsenal went to Anfield. Liverpool minus Sadio Mane and Mo Salah. Arsenal minus Aubameyang, Partey and Nicola Pepe. Two of them weren't even playing regularly anyway. But it was a game. In my estimation, I thought we had a decent chance with the team that he named. I thought it was a very strong team. Liverpool clearly looked not even close to their usual self without those two key players. What was your feeling on the game, Neil?
No,
I think Liverpool started well, but then when you went down to 10 men, it was almost like it had a massive problem for Liverpool to break down 10 men.
All right, let me address that. Right, if you go back and you look at any game where Liverpool are actually against 10 men, they struggle. Even when they've got Salah, Mane, Firmino up front, whoever is playing, they struggle. The bad thing about that game is it wasn't because we had those players missing, because some of the players, like Trent Alexander-Arnold, he was shockingly poor. Yeah, he was shockingly poor. For once, he was actually poor. He gave away the ball a lot. His crosses, his free kicks, they were crap, straight into the wall, or they were just way off target. And that's where a lot of the play Liverpool do. You know, they need to play well in the game. So he was off. We had people up front that weren't good enough. If you look across the midfield as well, we had a geriatric. We had people keep going on about Henderson, but I'm still not impressed by him. Yes, he's the captain, but he's not a ball player. He's not that great. Yeah.
You could
and we
actually
had,
say
yeah,
you had two geriatrics, because Henderson and Milner together, they must be what, 60, 70 years worth of player.
no, seriously, right? Milner, for his age, is really, really fit, right? But when you see him on the pitch, right? Especially when he plays in defence, plays in defence, right? He gets caught out a lot because he's going against younger players, hungrier players. Yeah, he hasn't got that speed anymore, and you can see it. So for me, he would be the supporting defending midfielder that you'd have, right? And you keep him back, protecting the back. Yeah, because he hasn't got the speed. Then you look at Henderson. Henderson is great at passing the ball left and right. But going forward, he's not that great. Yes, he's had games where he's got a number of assists and he scored some goals. So I give him that. But he's not the player that I believe he should be. Right. And then we've got Fabinho, who is our naturally defensive midfield player. Yeah. So between the three of them, they're not great at attacking. Milner's the best out of the three of them at attacking. And you saw how poor he looked. And when all three of them are poor, realistically, you know, when you guys went down to 10 players, to me, that leveled up the teams. Yeah. That seriously leveled it up because we were so poor and so short in the way we played. For you lot to go down to 10 or 9 players, to me, that's an even side. And you saw how bad we played after that. When you guys went down to 10 and you put all your players and the bus in front of us, we had no ideas. We had no clue. Yeah, we couldn't break you down. And that's not the only game. We did that against I can't remember the game against Burnley as well. Burnley went down. There was a game when Burnley went down to 10 players. We couldn't break them down. Could not break them down. And we had all our top players. And it's always like that. I haven't seen one game where we've actually dominated a team that's gone down to 10 players.
But it's not. It's the style of play. It's like, I mean, it's top level when you're training. You play games where you play banks of 8v8 or 10v8, 10v6. You know, you have attack versus defense. It's very difficult if the defense is well organized. It is very difficult to break it down, even in training. You know, these guys practice this over and over again, 8v6, 10v8, 10v7. They do it all the time in training. And
I get that and I understand that.
It's not easy to do. What changed was, instead of Arsenal wanting to be on the attack, which would then leave Liverpool space to get in behind Arsenal were actually dropped. I was very impressed with the way Arsenal dealt with the game after they went down to 10 men.
No,
they all funneled back. They were brilliant. They did very, very well, and they were very disciplined. And they've got quite a young side. And so, you know, that was quite impressive what Arsenal did. But Liverpool, without their two superstars, and I think he left Milner and Henderson on the pitch way too long. I mean, you know that I said on the chat last night, you know, that I felt you should have brought on Curtis Jones and Oxlade much earlier than you did, because they've got attacking mindsets in terms which Milner doesn't really have, or he hasn't got the ability to do.
For them to be successful, there's got to be space at the back, and that's the problem. The thing with Liverpool is we haven't got players who can actually break players down like that. Yeah, if you look at the way we counter or when we actually attack, we don't actually send too many players forward. We've always got players who are coming back. We hold that high line. And when you look at where the high line is and you look at how far we go forward, you still only got maybe 3 players in the box when we're attacking. When you've got two banks of 4, and you're trying to break that down, those 3 players aren't going to get the space. And if you look at that game again, you'll see how disciplined Arsenal were and how difficult it was to break them down, and how there was no space. Yeah,
also,
and because
Trent was Trent was poor last night.
Oh,
I mean,
oh,
his
definitely.
delivery is normally very good, and he was poor last night.
Yeah, you also look at Robertson on the other side.
And
Yeah,
he wasn't great, but
couldn't do nothing either.
you know, normally you get a lot of crosses and delivery from those two lads, and
Yeah.
they didn't really supply last night. So
Exactly. And you know, as I said, hats off to Arsenal because you know they went down to 10 and they kept it. They kept it going. They kept it going. Liverpool couldn't do nothing.
Arsenal have definitely made strides this season, because previously Arsenal would have capitulated in that game. So I think their fans can take a lot of positives from the way they played last night. Now, yes, it is easier to defend in a block than it is to try and create. I understand that, but they did it well, and not many teams stopped Liverpool. So, you know, Arsenal need to take quite a lot of credit for the way they played last night.
Yeah.
But I need to stop now because I'm in danger of actually saying something nice about Arsenal.
You've already done it, mate. You've already
Too
crossed the
late.
line.
This has been recorded, right?
What you've done, Andy, is you showed that you're an Arsenal fanatic.
Oh yeah,
you are. You're an Arsenal fanatic. You're a Tottenham supporter, but you're an Arsenal fanatic.
yeah, all right, sorry.
I'm supposed to beat the enemy. You've got to know the enemy really well, right?
I'll meet you for a drink on the Woolwich Ferry.
Okay, so does anyone want to say anything about the two games that I mentioned? Was it Southampton Brentford? That was a 4-1. Must have been an entertaining game.
Good performance by Southampton. That Broya looks like quite a decent player up front. I know he's on loan from Chelsea, I think, isn't he?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I mean, you know, another one of Chelsea's army of loanees. But you know, but yeah, I mean, Southampton look. You know, they've got some decent players there. They've got that Livramento. He's pretty decent as well. You know, so you know, Ward-Prowse is decent. They've got a decent little team there, and they've got themselves out of danger now. I think that they were sort of sliding in a few weeks back, but they've got themselves clear of it again now with a couple of wins.
They're always strong enough to stay within the league. They're never going to get to a stage where they're actually going to get relegated. Even when it looks like they're going to, they just pull a string of games, wins together, get enough points, and they stay up. They stay up relatively well. Because they don't really drop into that relegation battle too often, to be honest.
I mean, considering that they've lost some key pieces, and they continue to be that club that are a selling club. So, you know, you kind of look at them and think at some point in time, you know, how many times can you keep going to the well, bringing up a new youngster, bringing in a new player from overseas, and continuing to compete in this very strong league, you know, if you're losing your best assets. So, you know, I have to take my hat off to them. You know, I mean, you know, they've not been without their troubles.
They've been doing it for a decade.
The early part of last season, managed to squeeze themselves out of difficulty. You know, they didn't start this season too well, but fair play. They're cracking on now and getting results.
They're 11th now? Is it 11th in the league now?
Yeah, 12th, 11th, something like that. They're around there. But I mean, if you think back, you think back with Southampton, they've been doing this for 10, 15 years. Walcott, Bale, you know, the Lallana, all these players came down from. I mean, Shearer, if you go back even further, was Southampton before he went. You know, and also, you know, they've had a long conveyor belt of players. So Mane, wasn't Mane at Southampton?
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
You know, I mean, you're talking about a long conveyor belt of players that come through there.
They got to a time when it felt like every time Liverpool got a player, they got it from Southampton. They felt like they were after the club.
Yeah.
You know? But you know what? They take the money, they bring in a youth or bring in another player, and they stay up. And they do it season in, season out. Yeah. So that's a success story for Southampton. That they've had very good players come in, they've got rid of their best players, and they're still there. That says a lot about what they do and the way they train and the players that they look at and bring into the club.
Well, that's
You
what
know,
I'm saying. They've obviously got a good scouting and recruitment network there.
Yeah.
Unlike Spurs, whose recruitment policy is shocking. But yeah,
So yeah,
I
good
don't, I
result
don't
for
know.
them.
I don't know how Hitchin is still in a job. I really don't.
maybe
But
you need to speak to Southampton and nick some of their scouts and stuff.
well, I mean, to be honest, for me, you can track Spurs's. I mean, Spurs went through a period where we did bring through a lot of good young players. You know, we had Ali. I know we bought him, but I mean, but recruiting Ali and Dyer for peanuts. You know, 4 or 5 million we got both Dyer and Ali for. They were good deals, and we brought 1 or 2 through. Like Harry Kane came through our academy and things like that. But that was all under Mitchell, and we got Paul Mitchell from Southampton, and then he came to Spurs, and now he's back. He's over in Germany now, I think, with Dortmund, is he? And look what they're doing now. So you know, you can see now that some of these scouting, you know, these recruitment directors, if you get the right one, it can build your team for a good 10, 15 years. You know, it really can. And Spurs have got a guy in them, and pretty much a fair proportion of the recruitment decisions Spurs have made in the last 5 years since Mitchell left have been poor. So we could have had Fernandes and Grealish for less money than we paid for Ndombele and Lo Celso. Go figure that one.
Yeah.
We chose to take Ndombele instead of Fernandes. We chose that. We chose not to go for Grealish for 25 million when we could have had him because Levy wanted to pay with buttons over 14 years or something. You know, we've made some bad choices. You know, we haven't gone for Grealish, then we pay more for Lo Celso. You know, we don't go for Fernandes, then we pay the same amount for Ndombele. You know, we don't go for Tomiyasu and go and get Royal for more money, and then Tomiyasu is by far and away the better right back. You know, we've made some bad choices.
Yeah. I want to move on, Andy, from the Spurs hatred. Told you he's an Arsenal fanatic. We started talking there about talent spotting. West Ham have pulled out another one, haven't they?
Bowen.
Jared Bowen.
Very
Scored
good.
2 against Norwich in the week.
Yep.
And to say he's having a phenomenal season is an understatement, right?
He should get an England call up. He's by far and away, you know, you look at all the, if you're talking about Southgate keeps saying, I'm going to pick on form and who's playing and who's delivering. Well, at the moment, there aren't many English people that are performing better than Bowen. I mean, he's outperforming Sterling and Rashford and Sancho and all these other guys that are in the England squad. You know, Bowen is outperforming all of them at the moment. I mean, he's outperforming Kane at the moment. I mean, you're not going to drop Kane, but but he's outperforming him at the moment. If that's what you're looking at, I think Bowen is probably the most informed England striker at the moment.
Yeah. The thing I like about Southgate is that he doesn't work the way the old England managers worked, where they had their favourites, whether their favourites were in form or not, and they were just putting them in the team anyway. He started off giving the youngsters a free pass into the team. He's built a very good team on youngsters, and he's also gone. He started off going on form anyway, so I can't see him not picking Bowen.
He deserves on merit alone. He deserves to be in the squad.
He'll consider him. He'll consider him.
Yeah. When is the next international, Andy?
I think March.
Okay, so he's still got a little while before the selection process, but
I think we've got a friendly in March.
Okay, so on the current trajectory, he's definitely one that's I would imagine Southgate's would be thinking about. So that West Ham result, no one wasn't expecting that. Norwich, they're on a hiding to nothing at the moment. So we won't go into that.
They're relegated already. Sorry to say, but Norwich are relegated already.
Yeah. I mean, technically they're not, but yeah. It's actually very tight down the bottom because you've got the 4 teams separated by 3 points. Watford, Burnley, Newcastle, and Norwich.
All right.
It's
So
only
who's
3 points.
who's your three for going down?
I think Watford, Burnley, Norwich down. I
Newcastle
can't.
will stay up.
I think Newcastle will survive because I think Wood is a good signing for them, and I think Trippier was a good signing for them, and I think they'll probably still buy another couple in the window.
They need to.
And I think if they beat Watford tomorrow, I mean, this is a big game tomorrow for Newcastle v Watford. If Newcastle beat Watford tomorrow, they're out of the bottom three.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they need, the thing is, Newcastle need wins. It's not even draws. They need wins.
Yeah.
I can't see on their current form. I can't see them getting.
But what they need to do is they need to just forget the usual 40 points or whatever. I don't think it's going to be anything like that this season. What they need to get is more points than the other three sides down there.
Yeah.
That's what they need to do.
They're struggling at the
I mean,
moment.
the thing with, if they win tomorrow, Watford would still have 2 games in hand on them.
Yeah, but at the moment,
I get what you're saying, but I still say I personally don't think Newcastle are getting out of this.
No, same there. I can't.
I don't see them getting. You know, the players they've bought are decent players, but to me, they're not players that I could rely upon to get me out of a relegation battle.
But I actually think they've been quite sensible because you look now, the top stars are not going to go to Newcastle right now.
No.
So Newcastle are not shopping in the window they want to shop in because those stars won't go there until they know they're going to stay in the Premier League.
And that was the point I made from the get-go. I don't see why those investors invested in Newcastle United. Because to me, you could have gone to Southampton, you could have gone to Aston Villa, you could have gone to a host of other teams.
Look at that fan base.
Better history and a better place to stay in the Premier League and do something.
Yeah, but, I don't know, but look at the fan base that Newcastle got. Look at the stadium. Look at the fan base. If they make it work up there, the marketing opportunities up there are lucrative. They have got a captive audience up there, and it's a huge audience. The Geordies are fantastic football fans.
I get it. Yeah,
it's not just for them.
They get 50,000 every week.
Yeah, for those investors, it's not just about the club though. They're also looking at investing in the area as well. So I can see why they've got Newcastle, because there's a lot of potential up there. You know what? I think that all those guys who have invested in Newcastle are not looking at this or next season. They're looking at the season afterwards. Because yes, why would you invest in a club that looks like they're going to get relegated? It's because you're looking further ahead. You're looking at the season, because once they go into the championship, as long as you've got a side good enough to win the championship, that gives you another chance to actually go for the players you want the following season. It's a long-term investment. It's not a short-term investment. You know,
I agree, but I still think they will stay up. I look at the other three, and I can't. That for me, they don't have as much. I think Burnley losing Wood. I mean, I think Newcastle is clever. They've taken Wood from Burnley, who are their direct rivals.
Yeah.
So are Burnley going to be able to use that money? I don't know.
But the thing is, Burnley could be the club that goes down along with them. You see, and that's the thing. That's the thing is, you know, I mean, Newcastle have the money, and if they, you know, the window's not closed yet, but if they do spend wisely, they have a good chance of beating the drop. Before the window, I would have said, no, they're definitely going down. The window's here. I'm saying they might have a chance of staying up. Yeah, but I still can't see it. I still can't see it because they're not going to buy any player that's extraordinary. That's going to kind of go, do you know what?
I can highly recommend Tanguy and Dombele for about 60 million if Newcastle want to.
No, and as well, also, if you look at the money they're spending, they're not spending stupid money. Yeah, they're not spending stupid money. They know what they're doing right now. Yeah, they're making sure the team is strong enough that if they do go down, they're coming straight back up. With the players they bought, they definitely will come straight back up. And that's what I'm saying. It's a long-term thing for them. Yeah, because guaranteed, if Newcastle come the window where maybe 12th, 10th, or whatever, they wouldn't have bought those players. They'd be looking at a high quality player. Yeah.
Yeah.
But they've got to look at players.
I'm not convinced on what they're doing there. I'm. It's one of them situations where I'm not convinced the people who have backed the club know what they're doing. I don't think the people at the club know what they're doing.
No, but they've
I
been giving
wouldn't
him
stack all my
advice, though,
hopes
isn't it?
on what's their manager's name?
Eddie Howe.
Eddie Howe. How? Why did I say Hearn?
Yeah.
Howe.
I mean, I think he's a decent
Could
manager.
be your manager, Tone.
Yeah, he could have been. I think he's an all right manager. I don't see him as a manager that I would call upon if I was desperate to keep a club in the Premier League.
Yeah, same here. But as I said, you've got to look at it. I think what they've done is, in which nobody's thinking about, is they've looked at a long-term investment. The manager's not going to be there long-term wise, but the club itself and the players they're going to bring in, they're looking at, if they do go down, they'll be able to bounce straight back up. And with the players that they've got, they should, right now, if they went down today, they should be able to bounce back up in the Championship. Yeah. Once they do that, they'll be able to build on that success.
If Newcastle do get relegated, I expect they would come straight back up because they would have far more financial power than all the teams down in the Championship.
Exactly.
But I remember, Tony, Eddie Howe did keep Bournemouth up for about 5 years in the Premier League.
I do think.
So he does know what a relegation battle is like.
Yeah, I think he's. As I said, I think he's a good manager. I just don't see him as a manager I'd rely upon if I was
their manager, isn't he? He's their manager that they've used to try and keep them in the Premier League. I think they'll find he could keep them up. They might keep him for one more year, maybe tops 6 months, another year, and then he'll be gone with a little payoff.
Eddie Howe is not there for the long term. He's not there for the long term.
Exactly.
He was just there to kind of stop the rot, which he still hasn't been able to do. And he's still good enough that if they do go down, he'll bring them straight back up. But once guaranteed, if they go down and they come up, guaranteed he's not going to be there when they come back up. They will get rid of him because they'll be looking at a better quality manager, a manager who can attract the players that they want.
If you spend that much on a club and you have that much money, then the next step has got to be you've got to be looking to
you look at world-class managers and world-class players.
And Eddie Howe isn't going to win them a trophy.
Exactly.
Let's move on. So we've had a fixture already this evening. Brighton drew 1-1 with Crystal Palace. The game was at Brighton. Brighton equalised in the 87th minute with an old goal from Anderson. Did any of you watch it?
No, sorry.
I saw a bit of it. I didn't see all of it, but Brighton should have buried Palace. I mean, they had a lot of chances, really, but then Palace got the lead, and then Brighton eventually got unfortunately, when Mopai crossed it and Anderson hit Anderson and went in, but
and Brighton missed a penalty as well.
Yeah, that's right. Brighton should have won the game, but they didn't. So anyway, I don't think anyone really cares, do they?
No, I was paying attention to the Ghana Gabon game.
Stupid.
Right at the end was that red card.
Andre Ayew scored a great goal, didn't he?
Yeah. But then Ghana's defending was awful.
Yeah. What was the final score?
1-1.
Oh, they equalised, did they?
Yeah. They equalised. But there was a bit of a punch up at the end, and the ref would not come up, even though the whistle had gone and the teams had left the pitch. The ref would not leave the pitch until he showed that player the red card. And the
what about yesterday when they tried to abandon the game after 85 minutes?
It's awful. It's awful. It makes you think about what Simon Jordan was saying about the African nations. And you kind of think like they shoot themselves in the foot because the game's are live on Sky Sports, I think it is. I actually managed to watch that game, Neil, the same as yourself, but it was on YouTube.
Yeah.
But there's so much about African football that makes you go, really? I mean, the tackling was awful. I've never seen as many reckless challenges in my life.
Yeah, but you got to look at it this way. Unfortunately, there isn't development. There's not a lot of money being put into those countries, right?
Yeah.
Which reflects on their football. To be honest, Afcon's a
I
very good
mean, you know
competition
what? The funny
for
thing
the
you say
countries
that though.
themselves.
You
Yeah.
look at the Ghana team. The players they have in the Ghana team don't play their football in Ghana. They play
No,
in top leagues.
exactly.
You
Exactly.
know,
But
I
the
can
thing is,
understand if you said that about Comoros, or if you
or
said that about
Fakino Basu. Yeah,
yeah,
no,
or if you said, I
Fakino
mean, even
Fasu. That's it.
I'd even say that against Gabon,
Yeah,
but
Gabon. Yeah,
Ghana, Nigeria, Ivory Coast, Cameroon,
yeah,
Egypt
yeah.
have all got. Some of them have got world players. Yeah, because Egypt, don't forget, Egypt
Yeah.
lost their first
Senegal
game
as
to
well.
Nigeria, and they're playing with the best player in the world.
Yeah, exactly.
I hear
And every
Nacho
single
scored a
one of their
fantastic
players is
goal in
playing
that.
in the top
Oh, he
league.
did. Inacho scored a brilliant goal, and
Yeah,
That was a great
he showed
goal.
his class. He
yeah,
showed his class. But then you've also got to remember that even though some of these teams may have one or two world-class players, remember they're playing as a team.
yeah,
Yeah. So, that player has to be phenomenal in that game, and all the players around them have to raise their game to be able to win that game. So to me, it's seriously it's like watching a Division One game.
yeah.
Realistically, yeah,
Yeah.
it's like watching a
I mean,
Division One
Cool
game.
K is put in a comment there that, the frustration that still no African side has got beyond the quarterfinals of the World Cup. Well, you can see why. If you
Yeah.
watch the game today, you'll be like, what the hell?
Well, no,
These
well,
guys can't
what it
string
is.
3 passes together.
Yeah, but what it is, you've got to look at the whole structure itself. You've got to look at AFCON. You've got to look at the countries. You've got to look at the investment that when these players are put together, how much
Yeah,
investment is put into them for them to play together to get used to one another.
yeah.
Yeah, they don't have that. They don't have that luxury. Unfortunately, they just don't have that luxury, and that's what needs to happen. They need investment. They need a lot more help. Yeah, and
Yeah.
until they get that help, it's going to be considered like a cheap cup.
I mean, the
And
thing is, you say
oh,
that, Neil, that there are countries in Africa which are very buoyant and
yeah,
have a lot of money. The economy in Nigeria is one of the fastest economies going, and they have a lot of millionaires, a lot of billionaires in Nigeria.
Yeah, because
Ghana
they're
is
all
very.
sending us emails because they're African princes.
yeah. But the thing you have to look out for, because that takes us into a totally different conversation. It takes us off football, as you know, right?
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
about it's about people working together. That's the only point I'm going to make, right?
yeah.
People need
I
to work
mean,
together more in those
it's
countries. That's it.
it's really strange that Africa have produced all these really great world players, and we, as a continent, it struggles on the international scene in the World Cup, etc. And as Kulke has said, that the quality of the football we're watching in this competition is very, very low.
Yeah.
You kind of look and go, some of these guys, I wouldn't put them in my pub team.
Yeah, but those are the
I
best
mean,
players
I
that
ain't
they've got at the
joking you.
time. And a lot of
I've
these
seen,
guys are majority of them are playing. They're playing across Europe, so it's not just
yeah, but
they're
some of
playing
them
across
are
Europe,
playing
and
in
they're playing
top
for good.
leagues, Neil.
Yeah, no, and I get that. That's right. But what you got to remember is you got to look at if you look at some of the other countries, not just the African
I mean,
countries.
I'll give you the classic example. Ivory Coast have got so many good players that they actually have Pepe and Zaha on the bench.
Yeah, yeah,
Did you know that?
yeah,
They started their first game with Zaha and Pepe on the bench. And
yeah.
I
Of
went,
course.
I couldn't work. I was like, what the hell is going on here? How are you got your 2 best players on the bench? Then I looked in their fixture before this competition started. The same thing happened in that game. Zaha and Pepe were on the bench. And the game before that. So you kind of go, well, you must have 2 better players. I mean, Max Gradle's a good player, but would I play him above Nicola Pepe? Hell no. Yeah. I can't remember who the other guy on the other side is that plays in front of Zaha, but I just think, it just seems really weird. Sissoko, JP, King, Dennis, and Sarr getting to other teams in this league. Ngakia, Kucho, and Luso at a push.
Another thing that you've also got to look at as well is that a lot of players are allowed to change who they want to play for. right? So when you look at the African countries, those players don't necessarily want to play for those countries. They look at countries like England or France or whatever,
Yeah.
who they would rather want to play for, and that's part of the problem as well. That's why you're not getting
Yeah.
the best players going out there, because they you know, they're now saying, okay, I've been in
Yeah.
France for 10 years, I want to play for France.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
get that. It's like the
And
Boateng brothers.
yeah, you get them.
One
And
played
the
for
thing is,
Germany, the other played for his African nation.
yeah, what makes me laugh though is that players are allowed to switch nationality after they played their first international game
Yeah,
for 18.
Michael Owen did it. He played for
Yeah,
Wales
it's
as
like
a junior, and
what,
then played for
how,
England as a senior.
exactly what? Why would you? You know, why would you
Because you
allow?
can.
I know
Because you
because you can,
can.
but the thing is though that goes against the country's trying to make it somewhere, because they've got a player who's capable of helping them
Yeah,
to go
well,
somewhere,
Wales
and he
could
can say,
say the
"See you
same of
later."
all the.
There's,
Wales could
there's
say
more
the exact
prestige,
same thing of
more
all the
prestige playing
players
for.
that play for England.
Yeah, but it's not. There's more prestige playing for England than Wales. But you're Welsh. Play for Wales, man. Play for Wales. You know, how's Wales going to get up there, right? When England are taking all their best players, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what I'm saying. Something needs to happen where it's not that easy to switch allegiances.
The biggest tragedy for England was that Ryan Giggs chose to play for Wales.
Yeah.
Do you know? Yeah, but
We could have
at the
done with
time,
him in the England side.
no, at the time, as I said, I had to say hats off to him, because you know he stuck to his roots, and that's what I think. I think not just teams. I think players should also think more about that as well. They should be
Gareth
more
Bale.
proud of who they play for. Yeah, they should be proud of who they want to play for. They should be proud of their country. You don't have to be like strong as in like Welsh. I'm Welsh all the way, but you know what I mean. Things like that. Why not?
Sorry, can you go back to the thing on Tap Sober?
Yeah.
Edmund Tap Sober for Burkina Faso in his entire time for Bayer Leverkusen has one error leading to a goal. How many does Harry Maguire have in his last 3 seasons? Do me a favour, fear the Faso. Good intel, Stuart. Why should anyone respect an international tournament which is held every 2 years, contains 0 World Cup finalist nations, let alone winners, and happens during the European domestic season?
Has Paul Pay got a bit of a downer on the AFCON?
He definitely has, yeah. I mean, it's African nations. It is what it is, Cool K, you know.
Well, Wenger wants to have the World Cup every 2 years now.
It's an international tournament. I could have a go at the Copa Libertadores. I could have a go at the
Euros,
you know, the CONCACAF, whatever it's called, or the Asiatic Conference competitions. But I don't. It's their right to have their competitions when and how they have it. If they have it, they have it. Yeah.
For me, it's important. It's important to play for your country.
Yeah.
It's important to be proud of playing for your country. It doesn't matter where that country is.
Yeah.
You should be that proud.
And the reason you should have respect for those competitions at the end of the day is those same countries provide your best players.
Exactly.
You take out all the African players out of the Premier League, you're left with shit.
Well, we haven't got any, but yeah.
Yeah, you know, for me.
But then a lot of ours are shit, to be fair.
Here you go. Right, moving on. Tomorrow's games. Man City against Chelsea in the morning, 12:30 kickoff. We'll all be up for that one. I'm actually got to see my son play football tomorrow morning, so I'm hoping they get this all sorted so I can get home and watch that one. What's your thoughts, boys?
City title over. It's already over, but it's going to be completely over after tomorrow.
I don't think it's over. I think to be honest, with the way Chelsea are playing, I think they can get a draw out of that. I'm not sure if they'll get a win out of that.
But a draw's not enough. They've got to win. If they want to, they're 10 points behind.
No. Chelsea have to win. Chelsea have to win. But for me, it's more about City dropping points, whether it's 2 points or 3 points. Yeah, as long as they keep dropping points and the teams below them, obviously you can't include Chelsea in that with that particular game. Yeah, unless Chelsea get the win. But as long as City drop points, it gives the other teams a better chance of closing the gap. Yeah, at this moment in time, yeah, they're well ahead. They're well ahead.
You're clutching at straws, Neil. You're not going to catch City.
We'll catch City, man. We'll watch our space. Once our players come back. Once our players come back.
Wishful thinking, bro.
Once we get over COVID as well. Yeah. Watch this
Mate,
space. Yeah.
You couldn't beat Arsenal with 10 men.
Hey, listen. We didn't have our best squad. Yeah, we didn't have our best squad.
But you're missing Mane and Salah for the next 2 league games.
Yeah, I know. Trust me, I'm worried about that. I am worried about that. But
So
you know,
by the time they come back, City are like 12. How many points City going to be clear?
John, that's assuming City win their next 2 games. You're already giving City those 6 points.
To be honest,
9 points.
all City need to do is draw tomorrow. Then that's Chelsea out of the picture.
Yeah.
And they've got to play you again. You've got to go to their place.
Yep.
And and not only that, not only have you got to make up, you're 11 points behind with a game in hand, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
11 points with a game in hand. So you need City to lose 3 times, and that would mean you would have to win every game.
Yeah.
You're not going to win every game from now until the end of the season.
No, I don't believe that we'll win every game. But then again, we don't know.
You're asking for City to drop more points from now until the end of the season that they've dropped in the first 22 games of the season.
It's possible, man. Until the points
It's possible, but it's unlikely.
Until the points are actually won, yeah, it's all up in the air. We can all wish what we want. We can all say what we want, right? City will win it when they've won it. Yeah, right now they haven't won it. They're in a good position, and I understand that. But they haven't won it yet.
So here's the scenario. I think if Chelsea win tomorrow, it opens up a door because everybody will be expectant that other clubs will be able to go to Man City and get a result.
Yeah.
It's not unfathomable that they could get into a bad set of results. You know, a lot of teams do that. You lose one, and then all of a sudden a couple of others
get kind of shaky
along the way. And I'm not saying they lose all of them, but they might, for instance, draw 2 games. Yeah. So if Chelsea should get a result tomorrow, I think everybody will look and think this league ain't over. So the likes of Liverpool and Chelsea will be going. They just need to lose. They just need to lose points along the way. They don't have to lose games, but if they lose points along the way, you know, look at the way we performed against them last week. Yeah, that was your blueprint right there.
But they still won
against 10 men.
All right, but they still won.
Yeah, no, they still got the points.
They didn't play well. They were out on their feet. You could say Arsenal were all over them. I don't doubt. I'm not saying they weren't, but they still found a way to win.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so that's what champions do.
Yeah, they've got a very successful champion. They've got a very successful team, and the way they play is very successful. No one can take that away from them. But the thing is, you guys are giving them the league already when there's too many games left. Yeah, if there was like 2-3 games left, I say it's them, it's theirs. But there's too many games left at the moment. We don't know what's going to happen. We don't know who's going to win what. Yeah, all we can do is just hope. For me, I'm not giving up on it yet because there's too many games left to give up on it. You guys might want to, and that's fine. That's up to you.
Okay, Neil,
we're only giving up on it because we're nowhere in the picture.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's crack on. Give me your score for tomorrow, Neil. Man City, Chelsea.
Yeah, after saying all that, 2-1 to Man City.
Go on, Andy.
1-0 City.
Okay, and I'm going to go 1-0 Chelsea. I like Tuchel. I think he's a man for a one-off game. I just got a feeling Chelsea will be up for it tomorrow. I know they've had a game very short, you know, not long ago, but I think, you know, Arsenal showed last week if you get at Man City, you can do some damage. So I think Chelsea are going to be all guns blazing tomorrow. To be honest, they didn't rest players against Spurs, but they weren't flat out. So I expect them to be flat out tomorrow. Yeah. Other games tomorrow: Newcastle, Watford. Neil's result.
Big game.
That's a very big game. That's for
Big
me.
game,
That's
yeah.
the biggest game of the weekend, to be honest. And to be honest, I can't see Newcastle winning that. I see Watford winning that
Is that
2-1.
Newcastle?
Yeah, I can't see Newcastle winning it. I just can't. I haven't seen enough for me to be confident that Newcastle are going to start tearing through teams right now. Yeah.
Okay, so
I
what's
can't
your
see it.
score? What's your score
They don't have to
prediction?
tear through teams. They just need to get results.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
yeah. But the thing is, though, Watford. It's not like Watford are going to go there and just lay down.
So
Yeah.
what's your score prediction?
2-1 to Watford. I reckon 2-1
Okay,
to Watford.
Andy, what are you doing?
I'm 2-1 Newcastle.
And I'm going 2-1 Newcastle as well.
Cool.
Norwich against Everton. I think we'll give that a miss. Wolves against
That'll be a
Southampton.
draw, you know.
Nil.
That's going to be a draw.
I think Everton will win that one.
No, I think
Yeah,
that'll be
me
a
too.
draw. Everton are.
Okay,
Everton are
Wolves
packed.
against Southampton. Nil.
Ooh. Do you know? I
Wolves at
see
home.
Wolves doing that. I see Wolves actually doing that one. 1-0 to Wolves.
Okay,
It's going to be a
Andy.
tight game, though. It'll be a tight game.
Wolves are well organised, but Southampton will be buoyed by the win the other night. I can see it being a draw. Maybe
Okay.
1-1.
I'd see Wolves winning this 2-1. Aston Villa at home to Manchester United tomorrow evening's kickoffs at 5:30. It's at Aston Villa. What do you reckon?
Well, I think we all want Villa to win.
The thing is. Sorry, I was going to say also Man United. Their problems are still on the pitch. You can see that their problems are still on the pitch. United will either play well or they'll play poorly. They're trying to make a point at the moment by saying that they're good enough to finish top four. Villa got nothing to lose. They have nothing to lose right now. I see Villa actually nicking that 1-0 or even a draw. It could be a draw, but I think Villa will do 1-0 on that.
Does Coutinho score?
No.
I don't think he's going to play.
Okay.
I've heard rumours that he's way off the pace in training, and that
Really?
I don't think he's going to play tomorrow.
Oh wow.
I think Luca Digne will be in the squad, but
Okay.
I don't think Coutinho might be on the bench. Maybe I don't
Yeah.
think Coutinho's going to start.
The thing
I've
with
heard
the thing
that
with Phil,
Gerrard, I think, said today that Coutinho's got a lot of fitness work to do.
yeah,
Isn't that just one of the what? Isn't that? And I just want to touch on that subject between us guys. That whole thing of players not being fit is just terrible. It happens all the time, and you kind of say to yourself, well, if you're a player at a club and you want to go to another club, the one thing you should do is try and keep yourself in decent nick.
Do you know what? Right? Let me answer that.
Remember,
one.
what decent nick is for Spain isn't the same as what you're going to have in the Premier League.
I don't even think it's that, because the thing is, I think that the majority of players, unless they're physically sick, they're fit enough. They're fitter than most of the average person, and it's their job to be fit. Right? I think that, especially with Phil Coutinho, it's a mental thing. Yeah, it's that thing that he can't get. I mean, think about it. You left Liverpool, you went to Barcelona. Yeah, you were at the time you were one of the most expensive players. You had all this thing keeping you up, and you get to Barcelona and you get knocked down straight away. The fans don't like you. You know, every time you touch the ball, you get booed. That sort of stuff. It's affected him mentally. He wasn't there that long, and they pushed him out to Bayern Munich,
and he did well.
He did well. He
won
did
the
well.
Champions League.
He's done pretty well wherever he's gone.
Yeah, he did well until he came back to Barcelona.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's not a physical fit thing. I think he's fit for the game, right? I just think that Gerrard is trying to get him mentally prepared, and that's the hardest thing to do when somebody is not that bad.
I think the question I'm trying to get to, Neil, is why is it that we always see this situation? And I know you can't be fit for the Premier League, but you should surely be fit enough for a manager to say, I can put this guy on a bench. What's your thoughts, Andy?
Well, I think maybe he will be on the bench. I don't know, but I got the impression from the interview I heard earlier that he won't start tomorrow. I don't think.
I don't think he's mentally prepared. As I said, he's come from Barcelona. He's come to Aston Villa for another life in football and another chance in the Premier League. Yeah, but you've got to look where he's coming from. You know, it's really a big step downwards. Yeah, just to try and kickstart his career again. Yeah, mentally, that's going to be really frustrating. It's going to be, it's nice that he's got away from it temporarily, and yes, he can build on that. but he's still going to be feeling peed off, mate. He's going to be.
I'm not
Treated.
convinced
He's
on
not being
that.
treated that well. I don't think it's the thing where he's not physically fit. I think he's physically fit. I just think mentally, it's been a real strain on him.
Coutinho could be another Rodriguez at Everton, where he plays brilliantly for like 5 or 6 games, scores 3 or 4 great goals, couple of assists, and then you don't see him for like 10 games. He either gets injured or he just disappears.
Yeah,
Teams work him out.
Injuries wasn't a problem with Coutinho when he played. Yeah, it was that
He's
that
been
mental
injured
thing.
quite a lot.
Yeah, but not bad enough to keep him out for periods like that. And when he did come back from injury, he wasn't in a bad mental place. I just think he's just in a serious mental place. It's taken him a long time to try and get over it. This is a new lease on his football career back in the Premier League, and it's just difficult to make that step where you're feeling that good again. And it will take a while. You know, it will take a while for him to be there. I personally think that he can be almost as good as he was when he was at Barcelona and when he was at Liverpool. He just needs to get over that mental step that has held him back for so long, because he has been treated badly.
Okay.
You know?
All right. So, what was your prediction for Villa against Man United?
1-0 to Villa.
Andy?
Villa are playing. I think Villa are playing well. They're good enough to beat them. They're definitely good enough to beat United.
Yeah, I really want Villa to win, obviously, but I'm going to go for a 1-1 because I think United have had a week to try and have a good talk, get some things out of their system. Ronaldo's gone on record and said a few things. Ranić's been in the media saying a few things. I have a feeling they might have had a pretty good sort of session of heart-to-hearts in that dressing room because it needed to happen. And I think they probably have had words. There's still probably some discontent there, but I think maybe you might get a bit of a reaction from United tomorrow. So, because Villa should have won the cup tie the other night and didn't. United got through. So I think Villa will be up for it too. But I could see this one being a draw, so I'm going to go 1-1.
Okay. I want to sit on the fence on that one as well. I think I'm going to go 1-1. Moving on to Sunday's games, Liverpool against Brentford at Liverpool. Neil?
It's going to be a low-scoring game. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. Liverpool have a point to prove. Brentford are a very difficult team to break down if you haven't got the right mental attitude to go against them. They caught Liverpool out in the first game with a 3-3 draw. With the draw against Arsenal, 10-men Arsenal, I think that's going to affect a lot of these players. They're going to want to prove a point, but they're not going to produce that much more on the pitch. I think that'll be 1-0 to Liverpool, and that'll be it. It's just going to be a low-end game, in my view.
Okay. Andy?
I think the problem Brentford's just taken a hammering at Southampton, so their confidence won't be very high.
Yeah.
But I think they might take some heart from watching Liverpool against Arsenal last night.
They definitely will.
And I think they'll make themselves difficult to break down. I wouldn't be shocked if Brentford managed to get a point at Liverpool tomorrow on Sunday. I mean, all the form says Liverpool will win, and I won't be shocked if Liverpool win. But again, I agree that it could be a low-scoring game. But again, I'm going to go 1-1 again. I've done a lot of 1-1s, but hey.
Okay. I'm going to go with Liverpool win because I think Brentford are getting to that point in the season where
few injuries.
Yeah, they've done well so far, but I just think now, you're getting into a hump for them. And
is Tony available? Is Tony available yet for them?
No.
Yeah, so that's the only thing. If he was available, I would say that they could even do an upset. But if he's not available, if he's still not available, it's gonna be a difficult game.
So I'm going Liverpool 2-0.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be an exciting game.
West Ham at home to Leeds on Sunday.
You want me to go first?
Leeds win.
No.
I'm hearing that there's a possibility that Bamford might be back for Leeds.
I've heard that.
Which would be good, and perhaps Stroik and what. In other words, just they're getting a couple of their injured players back, which will help them. West Ham are on a roll at the moment. form would say Leeds, West Ham, comfortable home win. I just think if Leeds have got a couple of their players back, they look quite sharp. They were getting sharper the other week. I think Leeds might cause a problem to West Ham on Sunday. I can't work out whether it's my desire for Leeds to win that's suggesting this, but
it's your desire.
I'm gonna go 2-1 Leeds.
Yeah, I look at that and I look at that game. I can't see Leeds winning. They may be able to nick a goal, but that's a comfortable win for West Ham. 3-1 to West Ham.
Cool. I believe the same as you, Neil. I think West Ham at the moment, they're buoyant.
Bowen, Jared Bowen, man.
they're buoyant Bowen. So yeah, I'm gonna go 3-1 as well. Actually, yeah, I think they'll concede one, and that leaves us on to the great NLD.
Yeah,
If it takes place.
Yeah, if it takes place. So I'm fully expecting it to take place. As I said earlier, I do believe Arsenal is trying a thing, and I think it's wrong if they get that game postponed. So let's get into it. A depleted Tottenham against a depleted Arsenal. Who wins, Andy?
I think. I mean, with all the plaudits that Arsenal have been getting for their rampant football this season, the young squad going in the right direction, Spurs struggling. Arsenal should be looking to hammer Spurs about 5-0, I think, on Sunday.
Oh, there he goes.
I think that's what should happen. What I think is going to happen
is that, you're doing it again, Andy? You're doing that reverse psychology thing again.
Doing it.
I'm going to go 3-1 Spurs.
Whoa. Really?
Yeah. And who's going to score for you?
Kane. Always scores North London derbies. He's the highest North London derby scorer in history.
Son's not available for that game, is he?
Who?
Son. He's not available.
We've got no Son, no Romero, no Dyer, possibly no Reguilon, although there's some talk that maybe he might make it.
And you reckon you're going to put 3 past Arsenal?
Yeah.
Really?
They still got a lot of good players, Neil.
No. I'm not saying that haven't got good players. I'm just saying.
The reality is that if Arsenal get told they've got to play this game, I have a feeling they're going to get it called off. But if Arsenal get told to play the game, then I think Conte is going to have Spurs really, really wound up for it to try and tear into Arsenal. Now, Spurs don't have a midfield. It's a big worry for me because I like watching decent football, and the fact that Spurs play on the counter attack is not something that I particularly enjoy. I like to see us control possession in the style that Spurs always used to in the days of Hoddle and Ardiles and all that sort of thing. So it's, for me, it's not a comfortable watching Højbjerg and Skip and Winks playing the ball sideways and backwards, and just moving the ball forward quickly. I don't know. It's not how I really want Spurs to play, but we have been better under Conte than we were under Nuno. So I just think that maybe if Arsenal are decimated, and Arsenal can still put a half decent team out on the pitch. I mean, you saw what they did at Liverpool last night.
Yeah.
So Liverpool, I still expect Arsenal to be strong. I just think that without Partey and Xhaka and El Nene and the kind of ball-winning central midfield players, that they might be a bit light in midfield, and that could help Spurs. But the problem is Spurs aren't great in midfield anyway. But I just wonder whether Kane and Moura are due a big performance. Kane certainly is due a big performance, and he'll be wound up, I'm sure, for this game Sunday. And what worries me is our defence, because without Dyer and Romero, our defence is woeful. So I could certainly see goals on Sunday. So that's why I'm gonna basically 3-1's an optimistic scorelines, but I'm going to go for that. So there you go. I'm a
Okay.
Spurs fan. I can't predict Arsenal to beat us, even if they should.
I see. In that game, I hear what you're saying, Andy, and I agree with a lot of the points that you made. To be honest, I think that Arsenal are after the game against Liverpool, they're going to be on a little bit of a high. So if it doesn't get called off, they're definitely going to be up for the NLD. They'll definitely be up for it. I think the game will be a lot closer. I think it will actually end in a draw. And it's going to be end-to-end stuff. Yes, they'll take advantage of your lack of midfield. They'll catch you on the counter as well. If your defence aren't up to it, they'll roll you over. Yeah, but I can't see that happening because both teams are both up for it. And when it comes to derbies, form is always out the window. Always out the window. Never think about form or how many, who won the last one, etc., etc. Because every game is totally different. I think that's going to be a draw. Both teams will be up for it, and I think it'll be an exciting game.
Tony?
So, as always, I think somebody's going to turn up on Sunday that you went, oh, I didn't realize he was going to be fit, because it always happens.
Yeah.
Somebody who was meant to be 3 weeks away from playing suddenly turns up on the pitch. So I kind of expect Thomas Partey to be playing. No, not really. But yeah, it did happen the last time we played at White Hart Lane. Thomas Partey played, and it was like, Thomas Partey ain't meant to be back for like 3 weeks.
And
now he ended up
got
doing
injured
himself.
after 20 minutes.
Yeah,
Well,
he did.
we
He
know
ended
it's not
up
gonna
getting
be-
injured and doing himself. But I feel like this is one of them games where obviously Arsenal are stretched in terms of playing personnel. So I do feel that if they can patch somebody up and get them out on the pitch to fill in and do a number, they'll do it. I don't know who that player will be. Emil Smith-Rowe is the one that I think is most likely to be that guy. I'd like it to have been Martin Odegaard, but he's got COVID, so there's no way he comes back.
We know it won't be Granit Xhaka
It won't be
either.
Granit Xhaka. Tomiyasu, he could come back. I know they're saying he's out, but I don't, he's the kind of player that will say, boss, give me a pill and I'll play.
Drug him up, man. Dope him up and push him out there, yeah?
And to that point, they did that with Saka. I don't know if you noticed in the game yesterday.
Yeah.
He was out on his feet.
He was sick, mate.
And he went to the side and they gave him
a
something.
tablet.
And then they came back out and I'm like, why are you doing this? Substitute the kid. He's out on his feet. I was going livid because I couldn't work out why they were trying to continually push him. And I'm thinking to myself, save him for Sunday.
Yeah.
So I expect to see one out of Smith-Rowe or Tomiyasu. I expect Spurs to do the same. I don't know who's closest to coming back, but
I think
it wouldn't surprise me.
So apparently Reguilon was training today.
He'll be there. He'll be there then. Because this is the North London derby. If you have to patch a boy up, you do it. You just get him out on that pitch. Because
get him on the old steroids. Get him on the old horse steroids.
Absolutely.
Son, Romero and Dyer are definitely out.
Okay. Don't be surprised if one of them three miraculously makes a comeback.
No way.
It'll be Dele Alli.
So after all that talk about players sneakily coming back, I still feel confident because despite what Kuke is trying to say that we got so many players out and we can't field 12 players and blah, 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 we should still field a strong team apart from the centre midfield. But the centre midfield is not where Spurs are strong.
Exactly.
So it's going to kind of balance out. I feel our front three could be a danger to Spurs. Spurs haven't got the greatest defence. Arsenal have a very good defence. So I'm expecting a win. I'm going to go Arsenal 2-1.
Oh, wow. So we've all given different predictions for that game.
Gentlemen, thank you very much for your time this evening. It's been very entertaining.
It's been great, mate. Been great.
Have a lovely weekend. Enjoy the game. Any last comments before we go?
I think Corkay answered me a question earlier about a centre back or something. Yeah, I haven't seen this boy Ekong that he's talking about. Apparently, he has Salah in his pocket or something. But I don't know. I think our man for the future will be Romero. I think when he's back from his injury, he's been out for nearly 3 months. But I think I think Romero is top class. He's only played a few times, so we've not seen him much yet. But he was the defender of the year in Serie A last year, and I think he looks top class to me in the bits that I've seen. So I'm looking forward to Romero being back from injury, Son being back from injury, and Spurs making a late storm and having 4th place, and Champions League, and taking Vlahovic off Arsenal. And
I'm hoping that AFCON gets hit by COVID, which is really bad. I shouldn't be saying this, to be honest. Just so that I can see my players come back straight away. That's all. I mean, I know as much as I said that, yeah, you should be proud and all that sort of stuff. Need our players back. Definitely need our players back, you know.
So yeah, guys, enjoy the week. Have a great time. We'll see you, Neil, on Thursday for the second leg of the Carabao Cup at the Emirates. I should be there.
Nice.
If not, there'll be a watch along, I'm sure. But yeah, have a great week, guys. See you soon.
Take care.
Take care, everyone on the chat.